Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. My name is Gabrielle Ray and I present cases of unsolved homicides, missing persons, and the unidentified. Today I will be presenting you the case of Theresa Richardson, who was deceased on August 25th, 2005, and she lived in New London, North Carolina. She lived alone in a mobile home park called the Baden Shores Resort Community, and she was discovered murdered in her residence at 122 Bluebird Lane. She was employed as an administrative manager of the Baden Shores Resort Homeowners Association. Unfortunately, I could not find out how old she was. None of the articles would state how old she was, but we can only speculate that she was a middle-aged woman and she lived a good life. And she did a lot for her community. She fought tooth and nail to ensure that the teens in the park had a great summer with teen parties, pool events, etc. And she kept kids out of trouble, and according to Facebook, she was a sweet, nice lady. She was always there when you needed her, and she had a good bit of enemies but didn't deserve her fate. This murder terrified the community, and everybody was on edge because of it. Now, the community was Baden Shores Resort Community, which was in the northwest portion of Montgomery County. The resort location was on Baden Lake, and her home was not far from the lake area. It was a gated community, and it was relatively quiet. She was found at about 10 a.m. in her basement office. She was stabbed and cut 16 times in the head, neck, back, and arm with a sharp object. She was last seen alive around 8 o'clock p.m. the prior day, riding around Baden Shores on her golf cart. She called a friend around 9:45 p.m., and that was the last time anybody had heard from her. The friends that she usually met for breakfast became concerned when she didn't show up and they couldn't get a hold of her. They found her body when they went to her house to check on her. She was involved in a legal dispute concerning her employment contract at her time of death, and Sheriff Jeff Jordan and DA Garland Yates asked the State Bureau of Investigation to handle the death investigation because of the nature of the crime and because of the lawsuit. Turns out a Montgomery County deputy was a member of the Homeowners Association and the Board of Directors. The State Bureau of Investigation examined over 75 swab samples. Family, known boyfriends, and suspects were all called into authorities and all were eliminated. Latent fingerprint evidence submitted to the SBI crime lab resulted in no matches to any suspect's prints recovered at the scene. All other forensic evidence was submitted and tested, and numerous individuals were interviewed without arrest. This was worked on by the SBI Assistant Special Agent in Charge, Eric Frey, of the Greensboro District Office, and Detective Jamie Kearney of the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department. They are now looking for new leads because of advances in forensic technology. Sheriff Chris Watkins is re-looking at the case with a fresh set of eyes. Clues and tips are diminishing, but the public is being asked for help. According to former Sheriff Jeff Jordan, this was a vicious homicide and home invasion, and burglary was the initial reason for the break-in and also for her murder. There was speculation that the assailant or assailants came to her lakeside residence by boat, and again, the police are asking the community for help and for tips on this case. The info you may be keeping could be key to help solving this case, said Sheriff Chris Watkins. This case is still fresh on the mind of the family and those who love her and miss her. This case will never be closed, nor will it ever be a closed case until the killer is ID'd, said Watkins. Unfortunately, that is all the information I could find on the homicide of Theresa Richardson. But we could speculate a few things from this homicide, and one being that this could possibly have had something to do with her legal dispute. Could somebody have been upset with her and didn't want her to go to court? Or there's really not much information on what the actual case, the litigation case is, but if it was bad enough, could somebody have tried to get revenge on her? Possibly. And not only that, but coming back to the revenge part, could one of the enemies that were mentioned on a Facebook comment, could they have been mad enough to maybe want to put an end to whatever she was doing and initially harmed her, and they knew she was going to be home and ended up sneaking in on her? Or could her home have been open to whoever was her killer? Could they have been a friend or possibly a home repairman, and could she have let them in her home? Unfortunately, we do not have the answers to that, but I believe that this was at random because it seemed to be at random, and I believe that the police's theory of a home invasion burglary is definitely the most plausible in this case. I believe this solely because the police know more than we do in these cases, and unfortunately we don't have all the information as the public, but we could speculate that since the police know more and they have DNA and they have ruled so many people out, that I believe that this definitely was a home invasion burglary. And I think that they snuck up on her, and because of the fact that she was in her basement office, I just don't see that as being somebody, or I don't see that as being, I don't know how to word this exactly, but I don't see that as being something that's normally seen. I think that the killer snuck up on her while she was doing something in her home, and she did not know that they were there. And since they figured, well, she can ID me if we let her live, they ended up causing mortal harm to her. There is unfortunately not much information about this case given, but it is something very pertinent that I believe whoever has the right information can come forward and they can help solve this case. It has been 15 years and there are still no answers. There's no closure to this family, and they deserve justice for their loved one. And also, I really, really hope that the breakthroughs in DNA can help this case, and evidence can be collected, sampled, and sent off, and there will be an answer one day. If you or anybody you know have any information on the death of Theresa Richardson, please call Sheriff's Captain Kelsey Brown at 910-572-1313 or SBI Special Agent Eric Frey at 336-256-1362. And all information provided will remain confidential and anonymous. And also, the Office of the Governor has a standing reward in this case. It is unfortunately unnamed, but there is a reward standing for anybody who has any information. Please do not hesitate to come forward if you or anybody you know something about this case. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great night.